when we're writing together, we can't be writing all the time. So typically if I'm working on something for Hazel in the morning, then I will write something else in the afternoon if I have to juggle two projects at the same time. But usually, you pick your deadlines so that you're not having to do that. But sometimes, yeah, it happens, and I just kind of split my day in half. The newest book, Dragonfires Everywhere, is the conclusion to the Witch Lore series. So this is it. This is the end. Um, and our heroine is Georgie this time, who has been in all the first three books, and um, the Riverward kind of works together to meet that final big clash with the big bad.
Yeah, I think that one of the fun things about Georgie is that everyone thinks they know who she is, but you don't really learn who she is fully until you read her book. So I think there's a lot of impressions of who she is. You know, she's particularly bookish. She's the historian, so she's sort of in charge of doing all the research for the various battles they've been through. But then we get to see that some of her more internal battles, of course, when it's her book.
Because each book is told from a different heroine's point of view. So in Dragonfires Everywhere, we're in Georgie's point of view. It's first person from her head. So you're seeing the world through her eyes, where in the previous book you see it through the three other women in the coven's eyes.
We're very character based. So it's funny for you to ask that question, I guess. Like it's a really good question. But for me, I'm like, well, of course they're all different. They're completely different people. What do you mean? But it's like I think because we've been living with these characters for a very long time, since what was it, 19, sorry, not 19, 2019. And so Georgie has always been different. I think the fun thing for us is that we think we know the character we haven't written yet super well. But then when we get to their book, it's like, oh, well, there are things we didn't know. There are things that we have to discover on the page, which is fun for us. But we certainly think, oh yeah, of course, we feel that all the different voices of the four different heroines are so distinct to me. And I think that's because we just see them as fully embodied from the start. And hopefully that shows up when they're on the page in other people's books as well.
We knew who the characters were going into the whole series because the series has an overarching plot. So we couldn't just go in not knowing who all the main players were going to be. So we spent a lot of time thinking about who they were going to be, and they could still surprise us, and there's still flexibility once you get to their book. But we had a pretty good idea of who they were going in. And like Megan said, they're just fully fleshed out people to us when we're sitting down to write them.
Well, he could only like burst out into all of his dragonness because he spends he's in all three of the other books, but not quite in that dragon form. So when he bursts out of the chains that he's been held in, we got to just do it was so much fun. Like, what is a dragon on the page? It just I thought that was some of the funnest part of writing this book was figuring out how you write about the immensity of a dragon and what does that mean and how he's so big and he's the way he acts is different from everyone else and he's different from all the other heroes and it definitely has an extremely elevated opinion of himself. Yeah, he's great. He was so much fun.
Yeah, and I think, they're still just a character. So, as much as you're trying to figure out what does a dragon look like on the page, he's still a three-dimensional character that has, thoughts and feelings, and just like any others. And, all the other characters and main characters in the books are witches of some kind. So it's not like we haven't, delved into writing things that they're not just normal people. So, yeah, I think he still has to be three-dimensional. He can't just be a dragon because he's a main character as well.